Hello there, very good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1 for the Newsfirst, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan.
And I'm Thiruni Karunaratna. Here are tonight's top stories.
A year of justice and fairness ahead, President says in Kandy. Supreme Court rules that MP pension abolition bill constitutional. Tilvin Silva meets Indian External Affairs Minister. Kehelia's daughter Chamitri granted bail in bribery case. Thousands flock to Gangaramya for Devni Modi relics worship.
On to those stories in detail. President Andrew Kumar Dissanayake emphasized that this year will become the year in which the Sri Lankan people place their greatest attention and confidence in justice and fairness. Speaking in Kundasale, Kandy, the president said he is prepared to face any challenge required to achieve that goal.
In this country, we need to establish something very clearly. There is a line of law. Everyone stands beneath that line. No one can rise above it. I believe we are now creating that transformation. Some people will be hurt by this transformation. They should be, but no innocent person will ever be hurt. This transformation affects only those who have done wrong. No matter who they are, what position they held, or how powerful they appeared to be, everyone will be brought before the law. I believe this year will be the year in which justice and fairness finally takes root in Sri Lanka, restoring public trust and confidence. We are ready to face anything required to achieve that. Some thought the law could never reach them, that they were shielded by circles of influence. They thought the law would burn before it touched them. That is why people used to say the law in this country is like a spider's web. Only the small get caught, the powerful escape. That was the reality. Many believed the law would never come for them. But now, they are facing situations they never imagined. Today, the law reaches everyone, big or small, powerful or ordinary, without any discrimination. Therefore, the only people who need to fear the law are the criminals, not ordinary citizens. In this country, we must teach a clear lesson. If you commit a wrongdoing, no matter when or where, it will not be buried in the sands of time. Punishment will come sooner or later. Only then will our children grow up with faith in a civilized state.
The distribution of compensation for fully and partially damaged houses and businesses affected by Cyclone Ditwa in the Kandy district began today under the patronage of the President. The event took place at the Central Provincial Council Auditorium in Kundasale, where residents of Kundasale, Madadumbara, Pathadumbara and Panvila received their compensation. As the first installment out of their 5 million rupees allocated for rebuilding fully damaged houses, checks of 2 million rupees each were handed over under the President's leadership. Compensation of 200,000 rupees each was also provided for damage to businesses or machinery affected by Cyclone Ditwa. All registered businesses, small, medium or large, are eligible for this financial support. During the event, the President also clarified the government's position on public sector salaries.
For basic salary increases alone, we have allocated 110 billion rupees in 2025. From January 2026, we will allocate another 110 billion rupees. In 2027, the third phase will cost another 110 billion rupees. By the end of 2027, the total cost of salary increases for the public sector will reach 330 billion rupees. After granting such increases, I now see some asking for more allowances. That cannot happen. After the third salary increase in 2027, we will assess its impact on the budget and only then consider other allowances. No matter who protests on the streets, no allowances will be increased again until the next salary increment in 2027. Therefore, any struggle demanding additional allowances before the scheduled January raise is unjustified.
Construction work on the Mahayava tunnel along the Kandy-Jaffna A9 road also commenced under the patronage of the President. Under the Road Development Authority, the tunnel is being constructed at a cost of 699.6 million rupees and is scheduled to be completed within 273 days starting today. While inspecting the design of the tunnel, the President engaged in a discussion with the officials and also held a friendly conversation with the people gathered at the site. Construction of the long-delayed Kandy-Gatame flyover also recommenced today. This project, initially launched in 2021 with financial assistance from the government of Hungary, carries an estimate cost of 14.37 billion rupees. However, the project came to a halt due to the economic crisis. Today, construction work resumed under local funding amounting to 12.27 billion rupees, and the flyover is expected to be completed within 22 months. The President inspected the project plan and engaged in a brief discussion with the project officials.
Good morning.
Meanwhile, General Secretary of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, Tilvin Silva, who is currently on a visit to India, met with the Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today.
Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar stated that he discussed the further strengthening of deep ties, growth opportunities and social welfare initiatives with Tilvin Silva, the General Secretary of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna. The Indian External Affairs Minister further emphasized that India will always remain a true and reliable partner to Sri Lanka. The meeting was also attended by the General Secretary of the Intercompany Employees Union, Attorney-at-Law Janaka Adhikari, Members of Parliament Karunanathan Ilankumaran and Kitnan Selvaraj, Member of the JVP Media Unit Hemathilaka Gamage and Member of the party's International Committee, Attorney-at-Law Kalpana Madhubashini.
The Supreme Court has determined that the bill seeking to abolish the pension scheme for members of Parliament is consistent with the Constitution. According to the Supreme Court's ruling, the bill may be passed in Parliament with a simple majority.
I wish to inform Parliament that I have received the determination of the Supreme Court in respect of the bill titled Parliamentary Pensions Repeal, which was challenged in the Supreme Court in terms of the Article 121(1) of the Constitution. The Supreme Court has determined that no provision in the bill is inconsistent with any provision of the Constitution, and the bill can be enacted by Parliament with a simple majority. I order that the determination of the Supreme Court to be printed in the official report of the today's proceedings.
Commenting on the matter in Parliament, Deputy Minister of Public Security, Attorney-at-Law Sunil Watagala further clarified the situation.
What does the Supreme Court ruling say? We sought a public mandate, and what we included in that mandate has now been upheld by the Supreme Court. For the awareness of the public, I want to highlight two key points directly from the Supreme Court ruling. 5 petitioners went before the Supreme Court. They argued that this bill was brought to Parliament arbitrarily with the intention of taking revenge on political opponents. What does the Supreme Court say? Listen carefully.
The petitioners sought to argue that the government has arbitrarily brought this place to legislation to punish its opponents.
That was their claim. But what does the Supreme Court observe?
However, as pointed out by the learned Additional Solicitor General, we observe that the imputed legislative initiative is not arbitrary. It
It is not arbitrary. This is what the Supreme Court clearly states. What we have presented is exactly what we promised the people during the presidential election and the general election. This is what the people mandated us to turn into law. Then the ruling further states that the proposal has its origins in the people's mandate and is now being translated into law. So what does the Supreme Court finally conclude? The Supreme Court accepts this. Not only accepts it, but confirms that it can be passed in Parliament with a simple majority. That is the ruling conveyed today by the Honourable Speaker. Therefore, we tell the people of this country, today marks the day we fulfilled a core aspiration of your mandate.
The extraordinary Gazette notification to extend the state of public emergency in the country was passed in Parliament today with a majority of 104 votes, while the Samagijana Balawege recorded their opposition to the extension of this state of emergency. Parliamentarian of the All Ceylon Tamil Congress, Gajendra Kumar Ponnambalam, called for a vote. During the voting, 106 votes were cast in favour of extending the state of public emergency, while only 2 votes were cast against it.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of Parliament issued stern warnings to several Samagijana Balawege MPs for using obscene language during today's parliamentary session. Samagijana Balawege MPs Mujibur Rahman and Shaminja Vijeshiri intervened in a discussion regarding the allocation of time this morning.
මේක ප්‍රමාද කරන්නේ. ඊළඟ දේ තමයි මේකත් එක්ක මම අහන්න ඔබතුමා දැන් ගිය
ජමාත්තුමා ඔබතුමා පිළිතුරු දෙන්න.
කතානායක
ප්‍රශ්න දෙක තුනක් විනාඩි ඔබතුමා විනාඩි 3ක් ගත්ත පිළිතුරු සපයනවා. නෑ. ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමා ඔබතුමා නියෝජ්‍ය මන්ත්‍රීතුමා
ගරු කතානායකතුමනි
ඔබතුමා විනාඩි 3ක් ගත්ත ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමා.
දැන්
පොයින්ට් එක මාත් ටිකක්
කතානායකවරයාගේ සාමාන්‍ය අධිකාරී මේක මේ ගෞරවනීය ලෙස මුස්ලිම් තමුන්ලාසට වාඩි වෙලා සමබරව මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුව මේවන්න තමයි මේ ස්ථාන නියෝගය තියෙන්නේ.
පිළිතුරු ලබා දෙන්න. ඔබතුමා මෙතන එළියට දාන්න ඕනවාට කියන්නේ
ප්‍රාදේශීය සම්බන්ධය
The leaders of the country are cursing the Prime Minister and the Speaker and are using foul language. I understand that there are a few MPs, maybe 4 or 5. There are several such people. This will not stop. They will not stop what they are doing. This is really, according to my knowledge, a certain mental state. I request the Chief Opposition Whip. We know that you are a civilized person. I personally know that very well. We all have a great admiration for you. In fact, there are 4 or 5 people in your opposition who continue to do this. These people should secretly consult a psychiatrist or any other suitable doctor and obtain treatment and correct their mentality to prevent them from speaking in filth.
When we come to Parliament, we feel like we have entered a pile of mud. You continue to speak in filth. You speak in filth to the Prime Minister, to the Speaker and to the Speaker's Secretary. I wonder, as an opposition, what is the contribution you are making to the Sri Lankan society? I feel like all of you must be mentioned in the Epstein files. It is like all of you are sexually deprived. Your vocabulary is full of filth. If they see a woman, they think she should be obligated to be with them. If they see 2 male friends walking down a street holding hands, they will consider it to be abnormal. What kind of a disease is this? All of you came into Parliament from the votes of the Sri Lankan people. All of you have a responsibility towards the citizens and the votes you received. It is actually very scary at times when a female MP raises a point of order or objects to what another male MP has said. It is scary to what verbal abuse they will have to face for standing up for themselves. This is really a frightening issue. We must remember that before we are MPs, we are humans. They also have families comprising of spouses, children and parents that they have to go home to. I have never heard this much of filth being spoken. I haven't heard this much of filth even during my days in grade 7 or 8, because that is the age where you practice saying filth in schools. That's the period where such words rouse much curiosity. But this house is worse than that. Therefore, I ask you not to spoil our heads by speaking in such a manner. It is actually pointless speaking to individuals such as you. Now, I would like to take this debate in a different direction. What is the strategy of these people? I recall a conversation I had with a former MP who is now in prison. This was around 2015 or 2016. He was a minister at that time. He is from Kandy. There are two of them. They now walk out in cuffs like they are good friends. During a television debate, he was criticizing us, that we are two-faced, that we are liars, that we say that we do not draw a salary but secretly do so. He criticized us during the entire TV debate. So during the interval, I asked him, why do you lie so much? His reply was, in his own words, our aim is to show that you are also like us. So that is our project. So that is the aim of the opposition. That is what they are attempting to do. That is why they are trying to dishonor the speaker. In the past, we have had speakers who exploited the benefits of parliament. They took tins of cheese home by the bulk. They literally drank gasoline. That is how much they wasted. Without speaking a word about those past incidents, they are trying to label you also as a corrupt one. Now, it was one speaker, Chamal Rajapaksa, whose son was imprisoned recently. The board meetings of Sri Lankan Airlines was convened at the official residence of the speaker. We have audit reports that mention the manner in which Mahinda Yapa behaved. These are not random reports. These have been included in the Hansard. The opposition has many members who were speakers of parliament who stole their official laptops. Therefore, they think that you too are like that. Honorable Speaker, you need to be compassionate towards them. You need to forgive them. They cannot comprehend that there can be a speaker who is honest and can work in a frugal manner. We are not such political beggars. We have self-respect. We chose to be in politics not to scrounge from the country, rather because we are passionate about it.
Sri Lanka has asserted that the sanctions recently imposed by the United Kingdom on certain Sri Lankan individuals hold no legal force over the country, describing them as unilateral actions taken under UK domestic law rather than internationally binding measures. Foreign Affairs Minister Vijay Herath explained this in Parliament.
The sanctions imposed by the United Kingdom on certain Sri Lankan individuals are unilateral measures taken under UK domestic law, unlike sanctions imposed by the United Nations Security Council under Chapter 7 of the UN Charter. These measures are not legally binding on Sri Lanka under international law. Sri Lanka therefore has no obligation to recognize, enforce or cooperate with these sanctions and is not required to accept the allegations or legal conclusions on which they are based. Any legally binding decision on criminal responsibility can only be made by Sri Lankan courts or by international courts that have proper legal authority. Under international law, Sri Lanka has the right to formally object to such sanctions through diplomatic channels and to uphold the principles of sovereignty and non-interference in its internal affairs. While there are international legal mechanisms in theory, their practical use is limited unless the sanctioned country agrees to be bound by them. As a result, the legal effect of the UK sanctions applies only within the United Kingdom, and their wider impact is political rather than legal. Please refer to the reference to question number 5 regarding the actions taken by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism. Unilateral sanctions were first imposed by the USA in February 2020 during the government of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. This was against General Savendra Silva. Then in December 2021, travel bans were imposed by USA on former Presidents Mahinda Rajapaksa and Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Canada in January 2023 also imposed sanctions on the two former presidents as well as Staff Sergeant Sunil Ratnayaka and Navy Officer Chandana Hettiarachchi. All these sanctions were imposed for alleged human rights violations during the conflict. Most recently, in December 2024, the USA imposed sanctions on the former ambassador to Russia, Udayanga Veeratunga, and the ex-CEO of Sri Lankan Airlines, Kapila Chandrasena, for corruption-related allegations. So the UK action was not the first such action and therefore cannot be taken in isolation or as a precedent. Question number 7. The government has made it clear that it does not condone unilateral sanctions against its citizens by state or non-state actors. Unilateral sanctions are different from sanctions imposed by internationally recognized legal frameworks such as the UN Security Council. All member states are bound by any sanctions imposed by the United Nations Security Council through its resolutions. As stated above, Sri Lanka is not bound by unilateral sanctions. We have always maintained, even at the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva, that if there are allegations of human rights violations against members of the armed forces, they should be dealt with through domestic processes, which our government has, since the assumption of office, taken measures to strengthen. We reject international accountability mechanisms, including the external evidence gathering mechanism established in 2022 under UNHRC Resolution 51/1.
Former Minister Kehelia Ramukwella's daughter, Chamitri Jainika Ramukwella, was released on bail today. This was following her appearance before the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court this afternoon.
Chamitri Jainika Ramukwella was taken into custody this afternoon after it was revealed that she had allegedly committed an offence under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. She is accused of assisting former Minister Kehelia Ramukwella in laundering illicitly obtained funds.
Newsfirst, with the people. For 140 years, Mercedes-Benz has defined innovation. Now that legacy comes alive once again at the Mercedes-Benz pageant with Demo, celebrating 85 years of automotive excellence. On Sunday, 8th February from 6:30 am onwards at the BMICH, organized by the Mercedes-Benz Club of Sri Lanka together with Demo.
Welcome back. A large number of devotees are visiting the Hunupitiya Gangarame temple in Colombo to pay their respects to the sacred Sarvanya relics from Devnimori. The public can continue to pay their homage to the Sarvanya relics until 7 a.m. on the 11th of February. Some time ago, sacred relics of Lord Buddha were discovered at the archaeological site of Devnimori in Gujarat, India, and have now been enshrined at the Gangarame temple. Venerable Kirinde Asajithero, the chief incumbent of the temple, said that necessary facilities have been arranged to accommodate devotees who come to pay homage to the sacred relics.
Devotees coming to pay homage to the sacred relics should be able to do so comfortably without having to wait in long queues or get exhausted. Transport, sanitation and food and drink facilities have been arranged for everyone's convenience. We kindly advise those planning to visit in the coming days to travel light and avoid bringing unnecessary belongings. It would also be easier if you leave your shoes in your vehicle. Remember, this is a rare and precious opportunity, similar to having seen Lord Buddha yourselves, so make the most of it.
වහන්සේ දැක බලා ගන්න තමන්ට මහඟු අවස්ථාවක් උදා වෙලා තියෙනවා කියන හැඟීම නිරතුරුවම සිතේ ඇති කරගෙන ඉන්න.
මේ වගේ තැනකට ඇවිල්ලා සිත සතන් පහන් කරගෙන යන අවස්ථාව ලබා දීපු ගැන ගංගාරාමේ අපේ කිරින්දේ නායක හඳුනන බොහොම පින් ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
හරිම උතුම් අවස්ථාවක් අපිට ලැබුණේ. හැමෝටම ඇවිල්ලා මේ වැඳ පුදා ගන්න කියලා මං ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා. හැමෝටම පින් සිද්ධ වේවා.
පුදුම ශ්‍රද්ධාවක් දැනෙනවා මෙතෙන්ට ආවට පස්සේ. ඇතරම ජීවමාන බුදුරජාණන් වහන්සේ බැහැ දකින්නව ගැන පුදුම සතුටක් දැනෙනවා.
අතමාත්ම සතුටු වෙනවා මේ වගේ අවස්ථාවක් අපට ලබා දීම ගැන ජනාධිපතිතුමා ඇතුළු සියලුම ආරම මණ්ඩලයටත් විශේෂයෙන් ඉන්දියාවේ මොහොදිපතිතුමාටත් අපිට මේ අවස්ථාව ලබා දුන්නට වන්දනාමාන කරන්න අපි තාමත්ම සතුටු වෙනවා.
The sacred Sarvanya relics of Lord Buddha were brought to Sri Lanka at the special request of President Anurukumara Dissanayake to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This marks the first time these sacred relics have ever been taken outside of India.
The Sri Lanka Transport Board has begun deploying female bus conductors for its bus fleet starting today.
20 newly recruited female conductors were presented with their appointment letters at the Makumbra Multimodal Transport Centre today. The event took place with the participation of Deputy Minister of Mass Media, Dr. Kaushalya Aryaratna. An official uniform has also been introduced for the newly appointed female conductors. The new recruits will be assigned to SLTB buses operating on the Makumbra Kaduvata Expressway route. In the future, based on operational needs, these female conductors will also be deployed on buses used for transporting school children.
You too will face challenges. Don't be afraid of them. When entering politics, we also faced criticism and mudslinging. Similarly, you will face your own challenges. Don't have any fear. As the very first batch, you're making history. Your journey will teach future generations of women. You are unique. So I ask you to carry out your responsibilities with confidence and move forward without hesitation, no matter what obstacles come your way.
The third phase of the Gammatha Care and Dare program will be held tomorrow and the day after. It will be centered around the Nuwara Eliya and Kandy districts.
The Gammatha Care and Dare program was established to uplift people affected by the various disasters resulted by Cyclone Ditwa. This initiative is supported by the Minderoo Foundation of Australia, one of the world's largest philanthropic organizations. The first phase of the Gammatha Care and Dare program was successfully held in Kotmale, followed by a second phase in Passara, Madulsima and Valimada, providing benefits to thousands of people. Tomorrow, services will be provided to the local residents and the people of the Walapane Divisional Secretariat Division at the Nildanda Hina Sumangala National School. The day after tomorrow, the program is scheduled to take place at Gampola Kurunduwatta Royal College. The Care and Dare program provides a wide range of essential services, including medical, counseling and legal services, granting of subsidies and guidance for those who have lost their livelihoods or self-employment opportunities, document recovery. The Divisional Secretariat will participate to help residents recover vital documents such as birth certificates lost during the disaster, specialized care, dedicated services for pregnant mothers and young children, relief goods, distribution of dry rations, household appliances and hygiene packs. Gammatha is joined in this effort by several key institutions: Disaster Relief Services Centre, National Apprentice and Industrial Training Authority or NITA, Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Ministry of Health and the Triforces and the police.
Let's take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee is performing in the global market today.
According to the exchange rates issued today by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the selling price of a US dollar was recorded at 313 rupees and 19 cents. The buying price of a dollar stood at 305 rupees and 65 cents.
Today marks the 34th day of the second phase of the LOLC Divi Savya You, Me, Our Nation social welfare program. Now this program, which aims to renovate 200 schools damaged by Cyclone Ditwa, was held today centered around the Kurunagala, Ratnapura, Kandy and Badulla districts.
The renovated facilities at Pansegama Mahavidyalaya, Yapahuwa Subasen National School and Daladagama Primary School belonging to the Mahava Education Zone in Kurunagala were handed over to the students today. The program was also held at Kadugannava Lagamuwa Mahavidyalaya, Ilukwatha Muslim Vidyalaya and Maligathana Primary School. The reconstructed buildings at Valimada Mativalalanda Vidyalaya and Galahagama Dharmaraj Vidyalaya were also vested in the students today.
The modernized Supreme Court complex was declared open for judicial operations following the completion of a key upgrade project funded with the support from China.
A ceremony to hand over the refurbished Supreme Court complex for judicial proceedings marking the completion of a major modernization project was carried out with the assistance from the government of China. The renovation was implemented under an agreement between the Ministry of Commerce of the People's Republic of China, the Ministry of Justice of Sri Lanka and the China International Development Cooperation Agency.
For more than 3 decades, this complex has served as the home of our highest courts, originally constructed, as was mentioned, in 1988, also with the support of the government of the People's Republic of China. As the needs of our judicial system have evolved, the importance of modernizing this historic complex became evident. In response to the request of the government of Sri Lanka, the government of China once again extended its support. We are pleased that the refurbishment has been completed to a high standard and is now ready to serve our highest court. This refurbishment serves as a tangible demonstration of the enduring cooperation and friendship between our two countries, with the government of China providing valuable support across multiple sectors. I wish to place on record our sincere appreciation to President Xi Jinping, the government and the people of China for this valuable assistance. We are particularly appreciative of His Excellency the Ambassador for his steadfast guidance and support throughout the duration of this project.
Prime Minister Harinama Amarasuriya declared that the newly refurbished Supreme Court complex marks a defining moment for Sri Lanka's commitment to fairness.
Investments in judicial infrastructure are, in a sense, investments in public confidence. A secure, efficient and well-equipped environment strengthens the judiciary's ability to serve the people with independence and dignity. It is no secret that expectations are high at this moment about what kind of judgments and what happens within this building. The rule of law and that justice will be served equally to all is the expectation of the public today, and I think upon your shoulders there lies a great responsibility in meeting the expectations of our people. As we all know, the judgments that are delivered in this building will determine the nature of our state, the nature of justice, democracy, rule of law in our country, and the legitimacy of one of the most important pillars of our state and of our constitution and of our democracy. So this is an incredibly important moment and an incredibly important site of historical importance, and I trust that the key that was handed over symbolically will be the key to many good judgments, many historic judgments that will be pronounced through this building, through the rooms in this building, and by the hard work that all of you put in to ensuring that justice is delivered in our country. As we receive this refurbished Supreme Court building today, we do so with confidence that it will continue to uphold justice, protect the rights of all, and serve the people of Sri Lanka for many years to come, as it has done in the past.
The Chinese ambassador commented on the refurbishment.
This comprehensive refurbishment included structural reinforcement and enhancement of seismic resistance, comprehensive upgrades to fire protection, air conditioning, power supply, and intelligent system, restoration of the building facade, optimization of internal function spaces, as well as targeted refurbishment of the Court of Appeal building. We are confident that this project will provide our friends in Sri Lanka judicial community with a modern, comfortable, and efficient working environment and facilities.
The Justice Minister emphasized that the refurbishment goes far beyond physical restoration.
The Supreme Court stands at the pinnacle of our constitutional system, the ultimate guardian of our Constitution and protector of fundamental rights. Its independence, integrity, and efficiency are essential to public confidence and to ensuring that justice is delivered fairly and impartially. This refurbishment is more than an upgrade of infrastructure. It's a symbol of our political will, a commitment to strengthen the law and order, uphold the rule of law, and reinforce public trust in our judiciary. A strong and respected Supreme Court is a cornerstone of stability, fairness, and democracy. We are also fostering a new political culture, one that respects institutional independence, rejects impunity, and encourages accountability. In a modern democracy, the judiciary is not an obstacle, but a partner in governance, ensuring that power is exercised with justice and fairness. We recognize that the strengthening institutions and transforming society takes time. Building a culture of respect for the rule of law requires patience, perseverance, and collective responsibility from the government, legal professionals, and citizens alike.
While preserving the original appearance and structural integrity of the historic building, the complex has been upgraded with modern technology. The renovations include 7 new Supreme Court courtrooms with single judge, 3 judge, 5 judge and 7 judge benches, 20 official chambers for judges, staff facilities, elevators, a modern library, a case records room, an auditorium and a control room with an automated camera system covering the entire complex.
For 140 years, Mercedes-Benz has defined innovation. Now that legacy comes alive once again at the Mercedes-Benz pageant with Demo, celebrating 85 years of automotive excellence. On Sunday, 8th February from 6:30 am onwards at the BMICH. Organized by the Mercedes-Benz Club of Sri Lanka together with Demo.
Built for eternity. That is how CNN hailed Sri Lanka's Jetavanaramaya, noting it as a 1,700-year-old engineering marvel. Here's a look.
Sri Lanka's iconic Jetavanaramaya Stupa, one of the world's largest brick structures ever built in human history, has captured international attention after being prominently featured in CNN's global travel and culture coverage, positioning the 1,700-year-old monument back onto the world stage. In its extensive feature, CNN describes Jetavanaramaya as a massive mega structure built for eternity, noting that when it was completed in the early 4th century CE, it ranked as the 3rd largest man-made structure on Earth, behind only the Great Pyramids of Giza. The CNN article, written from Anuradhapura, vividly portrays the sacred city's living heritage, pilgrims in white, chanting monks, and visitors who continue traditions uninterrupted for more than 2,000 years, while placing Jetavanaramaya at the center of this ancient yet vibrant landscape. The stupa originally soared to around 122 meters and was constructed using an astonishing 93.3 million packed bricks. Although today the monument stands at roughly 71 meters, CNN emphasizes that it still remains the largest brick structure by volume ever built. The global network also highlights a compelling archaeological estimate. The sheer number of Jetavanaramya's bricks could build a 3-foot-high wall stretching from London to Edinburgh or from New York City to Pittsburgh. CNN's feature further notes that unlike the pyramids, Jetavanaramaya remained hidden from the world memory for centuries due to overgrowth and periods of neglect, making its rediscovery and scholarly resurgence all the more remarkable. With millions of international readers, CNN Spotlight marks a significant moment for Sri Lanka's heritage tourism, placing Jetavanaramaya alongside the world's most iconic ancient megastructures and reaffirming its status as one of humanity's greatest feats of engineering.
The International Buddhist Conference hosted a gathering of IBC leaders and senior monks from Sri Lanka in Colombo today.
Friends of IBC Meet, organized by the International Buddhist Conference, was held today in Colombo. The event brought together the heads of the International Buddhist Conference and senior monks associated with the IBC in Sri Lanka. The Acting High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, Dr. Satyanjal Pandey, delivered an address on behalf of the Indian High Commissioner. The program also featured a cultural performance.
A memorandum of understanding was signed between the Pathfinder Foundation and the Chintan Research Foundation to broaden their collaboration as independent think tanks.
The Pathfinder Foundation and the New Delhi-based Chintan Research Foundation formalized a partnership by signing a Memorandum of Understanding in Colombo. The ceremony was attended by Acting High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, Dr. Satyanjal Pandey, and Milinda Moragoda, founder of the Pathfinder Foundation. Chairman of the Pathfinder Foundation, Bernard Gunatilaka, and President of Chintan Research Foundation, Shishir Priyadarshi, signed the MOU.
Today we have signed a landmark memorandum of understanding with Chintan Research Foundation based in New Delhi. Pathfinder Foundation has been around since 2008, and we have established formal relations with many think tanks, more than a dozen in India over a period of 10-15 years. And today's MOU, I hope, will enable the Pathfinder Foundation to conduct a close relationship with the Chintan Research Foundation, with whom we have had some interactions before. But with this formal signing, we hope that we will be able to further broaden our relations in various fields.
Look, if relations between any two countries have to be taken forward, then I think think tanks and academic entities which are looking at the hard questions. We don't necessarily always have the answers, but we are looking at the hard questions. And I think if done together, it brings the perspectives of both countries, and then certainly helps in presenting a document which reflects not just the ambitions of both sides, but also the sensitivities. So through the signing of this MOU, looking forward to a lot of collaborative work with the Pathfinder. My very best of luck.
The collaboration between Pathfinder Foundation and Chintan Research Foundation will focus on key areas, including but not limited to strategic minerals, renewable energy, new technologies, connectivity, tourism, trade, investment, geopolitical developments affecting the region, and other mutually agreed areas of cooperation.
Echoes of Life, Narrative Realism. A solo exhibition by renowned Sri Lankan artist Ranjit Pereira is now open to the public in Colombo and will continue until the 12th of February.
Echoes of Life, Narrative Realism. A solo exhibition by Sri Lankan artist Ranjit Pereira will be held until the 12th of February at Curado Art Space, 302 Park Road, Colombo 5. We often forget to notice the beauty of everyday life. Today, we are in a place where that beauty comes alive on a canvas. Today, I'm here at the opening of Echoes of Life, Narrative Realism, a solo exhibition by Sri Lankan artist Ranjit Pereira. His work is celebrated both locally and internationally. Echoes of Life will be open for public from the 6th to the 12th of February here at Curado Art Space in Colombo. So we invite you all to come and witness this beautiful collection. Ranjit Pereira is known for his evocative oil and charcoal paintings that capture the quiet beauty of rural life, cultural heritage, and native wildlife in Sri Lanka. After leaving the corporate world, he dedicated himself fully to his lifelong passion for art.
Looking back, I was very happy that I had a premature retirement, which enabled me to foster my passion in art. My style has also changed with the time. In the olden days, there was only very limited. You had to go searching for everything. So it's really, you change your style with the times and you enjoy the painting.
The exhibition features a compelling collection of oil and charcoal works that document the dignity of ordinary life across Sri Lanka.
It's very inspiring, his journey from the boardroom to the canvas, being in the corporate sector, right? And then finding a completely new line and making that transition. So looking at him paint is very inspiring for me because it's never too late for people to change.
It's a great pleasure to be here to discover a new artist for me. Sri Lanka has a very rich cultural life, and it's always great to discover something new, discover these beautiful paintings.
The exhibition will be open until the 12th of February from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Curado Art Space in Colombo.
Mrs. World 2025 second runner-up Sabina Yusuf recently shared her thoughts about the achievement in an interview with Newsfirst's Budmin Amradibakara.
So when they announced Sri Lanka, I felt like we won the cricket. Every woman, every man is a queen and a king for themselves.
Beyond the youth.
So Sabina, on that stage, on that day, on the final day, when they announced your name, how were you feeling at that moment?
Right now, again, I'm getting goosebumps. Because I am not going on the stage as Sabina, because I have the sash of Sri Lanka written on my sash. And carrying the pride of Sri Lanka to the international platforms is something I will never ever forget, because I believe that I carried not only myself, but a whole nation of 22 million people around me. And to carry that is a big responsibility, first of all. And second of all, it's a big feeling of pride and gratitude that you have behind you. So when they announced Sri Lanka, I felt like we won the cricket. I felt exactly like we won the cricket back in the days.
And sometimes we don't feel the same about cricket.
Yeah, I know, not right now, but we remember the feeling we had one time. Yes, exactly. When we won back then, I believe that was every Sri Lankan feeling that we had. But when they announced Sri Lanka, I didn't think of it like a competition. I felt like I have done something right in this competition, even though I believe that I was truly myself throughout the whole journey. We can all get a crown. We can all go down and buy a crown. At the end of the day, the crown is just a symbol for the night. But it's how we carried our nation to the platforms, and that
Every woman is a queen.
That's the thing, and the thing is, we need to be a queen beyond the crown, because the crown is one thing, but the people, every woman, every man is a queen and a king for themselves. It's just how I could represent my country to the whole world.
Well, the full episode of this exclusive interview with Mrs. World's second runner-up, Sabina Yusuf, can be viewed on all Newsfirst Sri Lanka's social media channels.
Shifting your attention to international news. Multiple rounds of indirect talks have taken place in Muscat involving officials from the US, Iran and Oman. Oman's foreign ministry says talks with Iran and the US have focused on preparing the appropriate conditions for resuming diplomatic and technical negotiations.
The talks occurred amid a US Armada deployment to the region and conflicting demands over Iran's nuclear program and regional activities. There are sharp differences between Washington and Tehran over Iran's nuclear program. The US wants Iran to freeze entirely its nuclear program and discard its stockpile of enriched uranium, a key ingredient for making a nuclear weapon. Iran says it stopped enriching uranium after the US bombings in June. Tehran has also long insisted, amid deep international skepticism, that its nuclear program is for civilian energy purposes only. Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi has said Iran wants to limit discussions in Muscat with Trump's US Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff and his son-in-law Jared Kushner to the nuclear issue. Iran also wants the US to lift economic sanctions reimposed by Trump in 2018 when he abandoned Iran's 2015 nuclear deal with 6 powers. The US and Iran remain far apart in their positions, though both sides have indicated they are prepared to give diplomacy another try. A senior Russian military officer has been shot multiple times and seriously wounded in Moscow. Lieutenant General Vladimir Alexeyev, the deputy head of Russia's GRU military intelligence, was rushed to a hospital following an attack in a residential building on the northwestern outskirts of the capital. His current condition has not yet been disclosed.
Alexeyev is number 2 in the main directorate of Russia's GRU military intelligence and is the latest high-ranking military figure to have been targeted in the capital since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine began almost 4 years ago. Russia's investigations committee has opened a criminal case for attempted murder. The gunman fled and investigators are searching CCTV footage for clues.
The 2026 ICC Men's T20 World Cup, co-hosted by India and Sri Lanka, is set to kick off tomorrow.
The 10th edition of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup, organised by the International Cricket Council, begins tomorrow. This year's tournament features 20 teams competing across 55 matches. Press conferences featuring the team captains were held yesterday in both Mumbai and Colombo.
Step by step යන තමයි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. මොකද පළවෙනි රවුන්ඩ් එක ඉතාමත් වැදගත්.
We intend to take this step by step. The first round is crucial, so our focus is entirely on the first match. This is my 5th World Cup, and I personally take a lot of responsibility. As a batsman, a bowler and a leader, I must deliver for my country. We must protect our pride. This is equally important for the other 14 players. We must perform as a team.
කණ්ඩායමක් විදියට තමයි අපි perform කරන්න ඕනේ.
The tournament will be hosted across 5 venues in India and 3 in Sri Lanka. In addition to the R. Premadasa and Pallakele International Cricket Stadiums, matches in Sri Lanka will be held at the SSC grounds, which was specially renovated for this World Cup. The SSC has been upgraded with a state-of-the-art floodlight system consisting of 6 towers.
Everything is ready for the World Cup. The opening match is tomorrow. We have opened 2 gates for Sri Lankan cricket fans to watch the match for free. Preparations are also finalizing at the Pallakele and R. Premadasa stadiums. Hosting a World Cup brings a massive boost to a country's cricket. School cricketers get to watch renowned players and aspire to become future stars. It also provides a significant boost to the country and the economy.
රටට ආර්ථිකයට විශේෂ පන්නරයක් ලැබෙනවා මේ ලෝක කුසලානයක් පැවැත්වීම තුලින්.
The first match of the tournament between Pakistan and Netherlands is scheduled to begin tomorrow at 11 a.m. at the SSC grounds in Colombo.
India clinched the 2026 Under-19 Cricket World Cup in Harare, Zimbabwe a short while ago. The finals took place between India and England.
Batting first, Indian opening batsman Vaibhav Suryavanshi and captain Ayush Mhatre added a 142-run partnership for the second wicket of the Indian innings. Ayush Mhatre scored 53 runs. Engaging in an aggressive batting display, Suryavanshi, who is just 14 years old, smashed 175 runs off just 80 balls. His innings included 15 boundaries and another 15 sixers. The Indian team scored 411 runs for the loss of 9 wickets at the end of their allotted 50 overs. In reply, England fought back quite strongly, with Caleb Falconer scoring 115 runs in a mere 67 deliveries. However, India's score of 411 proved to be too many runs on the board for the English team to beat. England were dismissed for 311 runs after 40.2 overs, giving India a 100-run victory. Playing in their 5th consecutive final, this is India's 6th title of winning the Under-19 World Cup.
Navy Sports Club defeated Police Sports Club in today's Super Round Plate segment of the Inter-Club Rugby League 2025-2026.
The match was held at the Navy grounds in Valisara. The official media sponsors of the tournament are Sirasa TV and Yes FM. Chief Operating Officer of MBC, Buddhi Vikramanayaka, graced the match as its chief guest today. At the end of the first half, the Navy SC was leading 16 points to 10. In the second half, the Police SC scored 19 points, while the Navy team managed to score a further 14 points. However, because of their first half lead, the Navy team secured a narrow victory by a single point with a final score of 30-29. The Navy players scored points through 3 tries, 3 conversions and 3 penalties. The Police team scored through 5 tries and 2 conversions. The Best Player of the Match award went to Isru Kongahavatta of the Navy SC. The award was presented to him by Chief Operating Officer of MBC, Buddhi Vikramanayaka.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Primetime News on TV1.
Thank you for joining us. Good night.